All right, moving on to the next topic. We're going to multi-percussion, which is a subject that a lot of people like to kind of forget that it exists. So multi-percussion, for those of you who don't know, is when a percussionist is asked to play an assortment of instruments simultaneously at the same time, so where they have one line going as the cowbell, but they're also doing it as a snare drum. When you get into college, it gets crazy. I mean, you're literally taking every instrument in your studio, every single one of them. Y'all be quiet. I mean, come on. Anyway, so as we step back, I know whenever you want to hand out your solos or your ensemble, you're thinking, I don't want to have to deal with that. And so you don't hand it out, you don't do the piece. And so we figured, why not go ahead and start them with two instruments. All right, so you'll see every kid will either have a snare drum and a woodblock, a snare drum and a cowbell, a suspended cymbal and a triangle beater. And so at that, because the biggest point, you can see right here, that's how the music's going to look. There's a different notation, because where our flute and our trumpet friends, they just have the black dots, the empty notes, and that's all they got to worry about. When a percussionist has it, we have to deal with X's, diamonds, these weird-looking slashes, all this kind of stuff. And the biggest problem I see with it is that there's no standardization of it. We don't know that every single person, when they want a triangle, is going to use this symbol and put it on this line. It gets to be whatever they want. Okay? And I can say when I was doing percussion music for marching bands, I can tell you, you just make it up. You make it up as you go. If it makes sense to you, there's no standardization to it. You doing all right, guys? Okay, cool. And so we're going to play multi-percussion because you can see with the much more things. We have the back row, there's basically two levels of parts. We have the parts where we're interacting with two separate instruments, and in the back row, where it's just reading two different drums. Because it's still surprising when I get a kid that has an F and a B flat, and they ask me which drum is which. And you always want to think, how come you can't figure that out? They can't. They don't know because there's more than one drum. They don't know which one to go. And so you have to point that out. And so the back row guys, they're just dealing with going, am I on the high drum or am I on the low drum? Now, we're going to have, Jake, blowing it for me, man. Come on. So, it's fine. Okay, we're going to have little Nicole over here. She's going to play for us because this is her part you're seeing right here. She's got snare drum part, she's got rim, and she's got cowbell. So she has a few different instruments she has to cover. And of course, we wouldn't want the snare drum to be played like the cowbell. You wouldn't want the triangle to be played like the break drum. And so sometimes they have to know, when I go to this instrument, I got to back off a little bit. And so we're going to see her negotiate a couple different instruments. Ready? What she's having to interact with is just a cowbell or snare drum. And of course, you know, the first time I handed this out, you know, the kid that played that part had it right here. Like, how are you? What? You know, so they don't think about that kind of stuff. So this is something we're going to help them do. And so we make sure they know, don't just walk up to the cowbell and hit the sucker. Put it where you want it. You know, I remember going into band halls and seeing kids set the bass drum up and facing the wall. And then you ask them why. Well, this is where the bass drum was. So, I mean, they just skip that step. You know what? Well, he's over. I'll be fine. You know, all that kind of stuff. So this will definitely go a long way in that. So we've been talking every time we set this up. You can see how we got some pretty independent percussion up here already that we didn't have to tell them. They're already thinking about the drum set the way I want them. No, this isn't comfortable. I'm going to lower it a little bit. So they took the steps. You ready to jam? All right, this is Multitasker. And that was Multitasker. Mr. Rad, you ready to close it up shop? Here we go, Latin percussion.